back to K Major, man. Well, yeah, I know y'all work together. You
Yeah.
hit the road with him some, right?
Yeah, for sure.
What was that experience like?
So I was like, to get back to my point. So we had a class together in 8th grade. Boom. I moved schools. I go to college at the Art Institute. Lo and behold, we have a class together again.
Okay.
So it was like, oh shit, I didn't even know he went to school there, right? So we was like, wow, man, we from the Ville, like, let's get together. He was like, yeah, man, I stay right around the corner. You know, my brother got a spot around the corner and stuff. So you're like, I'm gonna go up there after tomorrow. And I was still living in Riverdale. So mind you, Sandy Springs is where the Art Institute was, right? And I'm hitching it from fucking Riverdale, like on MARTA, like on public transit. So that's what I'm saying. I learned the city. Like I was like in the city. Like it wasn't no, and this is coming from Cartersville. This is coming from like staying at my folk crib, like just like straight to the city. Like, so I was like, wow, you know, so, but yeah, he ended up like just inviting me over to work with him at the school, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, I ended up going to link up with him. He had the little blue Acura at the time, you know. We just really started making beats, you know what I'm saying? And shout out to my boy Jamal Bird, because before I left high school, he got me back on the program Fruity Loops. He actually introduced me to it. Kyler Lawrence gave him a copy when he stayed in Middlebrook, and I would be over there just hanging out in the hood, and I went over there and made beats. But yeah, we ended up going on the road. He had a lot more motion going on because his brother was managing him. So I knew that I had the streets where I was from, and I knew I had artists, and I knew I had the whole thing, but I didn't understand how to enter into the industry. So what my whole thing was at the time was, okay, cool. Y'all got things that y'all need to get done. I'm coming into it like, okay, I want to be a producer. That's my goal in life. So I'm like, yeah, man, let me make beats. Let me work with y'all. I ended up producing a couple records for him. One of the ones he performed on 106 Park at the time. And I was just kind of like hanging out. You know, I was hype, man. You know what I'm saying? I was performing with him, which at the time I was like, man, this is some bullshit. I never would see myself being a nigga hype, man. I fucking hated it. I hated doing it. You know what I'm saying? I told this nigga, like, I'm not no fucking hype man, nigga. I got a whole crew, nigga. Like, and he was like, but I don't have a hype man. You know what I'm saying? But the blessing from that was because at the time, if I would have been so naive to say, you know, it ain't no nigga hype man, fuck that, which is what most people do, I would not have the presence that I have to be a DJ now. And understanding how to move a crowd and be a part of that process. And, you know, I chalk all my experiences up to like me being the man I am in front of you. I don't look at ashamed of anything I've done or any decisions I made because they shaped me, you know?
That's real. And I'll tell you one thing that I respect about what K Major did. And I'm not going to say that I was speaking this highly of it when it was happening, right? Because again, it not my life, not my path, not for me to understand.
Yeah, for sure.
He didn't have the streets back home.
No.
Like, yeah, exactly. He just got the streets now that he is who he's become.
And that's how it works sometimes for people, but, you know.
Yes, and I could go on for days about that, but these are people I know personally, so I'm not going to do that. But he understood that. He was like, I don't need y'all to make it. It'd be nice.
And that's big where we from. Everybody thinks that it's about what everybody around them or the city's gonna say and what they think.
And
until you leave, you don't understand.
Like, you ain't gotta be loved back home for real, bro. Like there's a whole world out here. And what happened for him? He found love in the places where it actually matters.
Yeah.
And now he has plaques on the wall. And now, from what I see, he's giving opportunities to those back home who are serious about the craft to be entered into his circle.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's important too. And I think he knows how to pick them and how he knows. And I've honestly, the whole time I was with him, and I think he attests to this, like I was like a big brother to Major, you know, and I kind of gave him the game on like what the social life was like as far as like what we experienced, right? And coming from my background, having like motion. Not to say he didn't have motion because he was doing a lot of stuff, but he didn't
have no motion back home.
But what I'm saying is, it back home, right? Yeah, he didn't, but he did have motion because he was focusing on something that niggas back home weren't even paying attention to, which was learning how to engineer, learning how to do this, being in rooms, working the room. So he had motion in the game, and this is what the stuff I was saying when I was with him early. then I was like, you know what? I'm learning a lot from this. So I mean, he willed himself to where he is today. I mean, much power to any black man doing that. My whole thing is to see, you know, the transition of like, okay, I think that I need them to where I come around and look at them because they're potentially in the same position that they were when I left.
Mm-hmm.